Sony just released the brand new ZV-1 Mark II, and I'm shooting on it right now. Let's take a Jam Life Tech adventure. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. Ring the bell if you want to go on more Jam Life Tech adventures, and if the video helps you out, please give it a thumbs up. So the ZV-1 kicked off a line of vlogging cameras for Sony over 2 years ago, and now 2 years later we have 4 cameras in the lineup. As you guys know, if you watch the channel, we're all about vlogging and content creators tech. So of course we've been following the range of ZV cameras from Sony quite closely. The ZV-1 has had a special place in our heart, and also I think with a lot of content creators and vloggers. For many vloggers, the ZV-1 kicked off their content creators journey. So what's new about the ZV-1, and has Sony listened to content creators and vloggers? Let's go back to the studio, look at the specs and see what's new and what's been inherited from the original ZV-1. So here it is, the brand new ZV-1 Mark II. A big thank you to Sony for sending it over for us to take a look at. They invited us to take it out and video our experiences, but they have had no input into this video. It will be our honest, unedited opinion. So what's new about this camera? Firstly, and most importantly, the lens has gone from a 24 to 70mm f1.8 to 2.8 to a 18 to 50mm f1.8 to f4. We all asked for this after the 24 was not wide enough for vlogging, and Sony listened. And later on in the video, we're going to show you just how much that made a difference for us. The awesome Sony Eye autofocus is now for humans and animals. With real-time tracking inherited from the original, it now makes this an autofocus powerhouse. The 3-capsule microphone now has changeable directivity, meaning it has settings for front focus, rear focus, all around the camera, and also auto, which is the same as the ZV-E10 just launched. I'm very pleased to see USB-C on this camera also, from the old USB multi, and also the new menu system from the ZV-E10 as well, which is all touch-based, including swipe in from the side, extra items, and also swipe up from the bottom to reveal the function menu, which really helps on a smaller camera with less custom buttons. I also like the aperture, shutter speed, and ISO are available right on the touchscreen. Very helpful. Another change is the tripod mounting position, so you can get to the SD card and battery door without taking the tripod off. Great news. Also from the ZV-E10, we now have cinematic vlog settings and my creative look, where black lines appear top and bottom of the screen, and there are a few creative looks to choose from. So inherited from the original is the same 1-inch 20.1 megapixel sensor, and the camera still films in 8-bit color, which is kind of disappointing. It uses the same X battery as well, which is understandable for a camera this size and of this price point. We also have active stabilization from the original as well. We'll be testing the battery life out to see if it's improved from the original, and the performance of active stabilization and its crop to see if it's got any better. And lastly, we have the inbuilt ND, which is really important as you can't screw filters on the front of this zoom lens. So let's go out and vlog with the camera and see what it's like. And I'll be using the Sony inbuilt microphone exclusively so you can see how it sounds. And here's a little battery life test. This was performed at 20 degrees Celsius. I have to tell you, I was really impressed when we went over the hour mark. We got to about 1 hour and 8 minutes because the last camera only got to about 45 minutes. It's a huge improvement from the original ZV-1. So let's have a look, guys, at the Cine vlog again. I'm using the ZV-1 Mark II microphone, and this is the clean look. So Cinevlog basically puts the black lines top and bottom and gives you that cinematic look. And this is the classic look in Cinevlog, so classic look. And this is the chic look in Cinevlog, the chic look. And this is the fresh look in Cinevlog, the fresh look. And of course then there's the mono or black and white look as well. So here's a walking vlog with no stabilization. So what you're going to see here is the best of that 18mm lens. I should be well in frame here, not holding the camera too far away from me, but also I'm using the Sony mic on top of the camera facing forward. So how's that sound? So walking vlog, no stabilization. So here's a walking vlog with active stabilization on, and I'm wondering, with that extra crop, how am I looking? Am I in frame? Is there enough room around me? Also, again, we're using that Sony mic facing forward. So the inbuilt Sony mic facing forward. So how's the stabilization? Am I in frame? And how's it sound? And here's a walking vlog with catalyst browse added. So I got the shutter speed wound right up, and I'm using catalyst browse to stabilize the footage, just so you can see what's available. Catalyst browse used for stabilization here. So here's the side-by-sides, and the first thing I noticed that no stabilization is unusable for sure. Active doing pretty well here, and what I really want to say is that 18mm lets us use active stabilization and catalyst browse and get in frame. So here's a tripod test. That's me holding the camera as steady as I can. How's that looking? We should have sort of a wider field of view because there's no active stabilization on. We're also using the inbuilt mic again, this time facing towards the rear of the camera. So now we're doing that handheld tripod test. Me holding the camera as steady as I can. This time we've got active stabilization on. So how's the stabilization doing? And how is the crop? Once again using that rear facing microphone. So this time we're going to be using catalyst browse to stabilize on the tripod test, the handheld tripod test that is. Once again we're using that rear facing mic. So how did catalyst browse do? And how did the rear facing mic do through this test? And here's the side-by-sides. Once again, I'm pretty impressed by active stabilization. Do you guys think it's got better since the original ZV-1? I don't know. But catalyst browse doing the best of the job. But active stabilization, I don't know guys, I think it's better. What an awesome day it is here down at Bondi. Beautiful day, but now we're going to go down to Sydney Harbour, complete some tests, do some vlogging and even some nighttime stuff so you can see how this camera performs in low light. Welcome to Sydney Harbour. She's looking beautiful today, I must say. First of all, I really wanted to test out this 3 capsule microphone. So same microphone that it always was, but now it's directional. And what I really wanted to try out first is the auto setting. So apparently wherever you move, the microphone's going to go in that direction automatically. So now I'm in front of the camera, you should be hearing me really, really well, but if I walk behind the camera, you should be hearing me now very well because that auto function has tracked my voice in a way. I think the way it works is that when you stand in front of the camera, it sees someone in front of the camera, it switches to the front. When it hears someone behind the camera and doesn't see anyone in frame, then it switches to the back. And how's it sound now I'm at the back? Just as good as the front, I'm hoping. So guys, here's a bit of an idea for you. I'm just holding a GoPro out to the side. It's a bit weird, but anyway. of how far away the camera has been when I've been vlogging. So about this distance for active and without active stabilization, just so you can see that how far you actually need to sort of hold it away from you in active to get yourself fully in frame. Here's a slow pan test with active stabilization off, so no stabilization, slow pan test. And here's a slow pan test with active stabilization on. Should be a bit of crop here as well, but active stabilization on. Okay, once again the side-by-sides, active stabilization doing really well here. I think like with that, there's just a small amount of jitter. You could probably fix that in Final Cut. So this is walking with the camera with no stabilization. Walking with the camera, no stabilization at all. Walking with no stabilization. And this is walking with active stabilization on. So we're walking with active stabilization on now. Hoping the results are a fair bit better. Walking with active stabilization. Okay, now we're having a bit of a walk using Catalyst Browse to stabilize. So looking for that crop and also what job Catalyst Browse actually does. You need, as I said before, to get the shutter speed up. Got it sitting at 1000 at the moment. So get rid of all that motion blur. But this is Catalyst Browse stabilizing the walk. What do you guys think? And now to the side-by-side, active stabilization, nearly got it here. That could really be fixed and be usable. Catalyst Browse, all over it though. Great result from Catalyst Browse. Okay, this is a bit extreme and it's going to test my fitness out, but now we're going to run up some stairs, firstly with no stabilization. Here we go. Okay, let's hope I don't get totally out of breath, but we're going to try it again now with active stabilization on. So running up the stairs with active stabilization on. Okay, and lastly, we're going to stabilize running up the stairs with Catalyst Browse. Can you tell I'm out of breath, guys? Here we go. And here's the side-by-sides. Jeez, I'm puffed out even looking at this. But active stabilization, almost usable, I reckon. Catalyst Browse doing a great job of it, though. Okay, now we're going to check that zoom range, guys. So I've got clear image zoom on here. So we should get 18 millimeters right through to about 75 millimeters, something like that. Let's take a look. And I think that's a damn fine zoom range. So decided to come into the harbour at night time now to film in low light to see how the camera performs. So what did you guys think? Did we get everything we wanted? Well, yes and no. We did get a wider lens, which I think hits the spot. I didn't have any trouble getting myself in frame, even with the active stabilization on and when using catalyst browse. I think that 18 to 50 or 75 when using the clear image zoom is wide enough for vloggers and has great reach as well. I love the directional microphone, especially in auto. That really worked out well. The touchscreen, being a real touchscreen, now gives you great access to controls on the fly, and the swipe up function menu was very handy. Cinematic vlog and my creative look are not my bag, but I can see some content creators will like it. So what didn't this upgrade deliver? Well, firstly is the 10-bit color. I really wish that was an upgrade on this camera. The other thing would have been dynamic active stabilization, which I love on the ZV-E10. But is it just me? Active stabilization seems to perform better on this camera than it did before. I think in any case from the testing, it only causes minor jitters, which I think I could clean up easily in Final Cut. Putting all that aside, I think Sony have a solid update here, and I'm sure many vloggers and content creators to come are going to fall in love again with the Sony ZV-1 Mark II. It seems the original vlog camera just got better. But what did you guys think? Please leave a comment below and tell us whether you think you're going to pick up the ZV-1 Mark II. So once again, I'd really like to thank Sony for sending the camera over for us to test out. And a big shout out to my ZV Nation family. If you buy this camera in Australia, you gotta go over and join ZV Nation, link below. And also link below will be our brand new group of ZV-1 Mark II vloggers. So make sure you guys join in on that one. That's it for this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, give the video a thumbs up, all of that good stuff. And we'll see you on the next Jam Life Tech Adventure.